Everybody knows media is bad for society.
Everyone knows media is bad for society.
Everybody knows media is bad for society.
Everybody knows media is bad for society.
As a society, we are made to believe that social media is bad for us. It supposedly causes narcissism, it encourages antisocial behaviour, and it changes people's personalities, and of course, it's supposedly addictive. But has anyone ever stopped to think about the benefits of social media? Because I, for one, feel as though my social life is 100 times better with access to things like Facebook, Instagram, and even Snapchat. But with the moral panic surrounding the topic of social media, there are many myths out there, and even I often question my online habits. So is it really all that bad for us, or is everyone just freaking out about change? There are so many negative connotations surrounding the effects that social media has on our behaviours. The science behind these effects have been of interest ever since technology arose, and these effects are still relevant and very topical today. Scientists have undertaken thousands of tests to determine the results and find some correlation. These studies often follow something called the media effects logic, but according to David Gauntlet, this method of study is working backwards, and he goes on to say that researchers should begin with the problems such as violence and seek to explain them with reference to those who engage in it, with things like their identity, their background, characters, and so on. So they're starting with the media and then they're trying to make connections based on its users and viewers rather than the other way around. Per se, if a child exhibits displays of antisocial behaviour, it will likely be blamed on social media, but has anyone ever thought that maybe this child has always been that way, or maybe they've had a difficult family situation which is causing them to behave that way? Social media is not always to blame for all these so-called problems out there, because there are just far too many generalised assumptions of how people are affected and the way that it influences people. There is an apparent panic in our society about these so-called negative effects of social media. This panic can be defined as a typical moral panic. According to Catherine Lumby, moral panics refer to hyperbolic fears, not to real-life moral dilemmas. As Good said, moral panics arise in troubled times during which a serious threat is sensed to the interests or values of a society as a whole or to segments of that society. This drastic and continuous development of technology has caused people to blame social issues purely on social media. But this panic is distracting society from the real issues. Problems like reckless behaviour, social anxiety and withdrawal, and learning abilities have all been existed for years prior to Facebook and Instagram and just technology, but people are simply looking for something to blame to gain an easy answer for problems that are far more complex. As Stephen Harrington said, major public concern is being stirred up through isolated incidents, unrepresentative or decontextualized examples. For example, planking. That was a huge panic, didn't last long, but those boys, they're probably reckless by nature, that's the way they are. Social media didn't cause them to do that. It may have been a factor contributing to it because they know they would get popularity from that event, but it's really just a big panic about something that it's going to happen. It's just the fact that it's being publicized. So, as commonly said, it's a correlation, but it's not causation. So what about the positives of social media? When I think of the way in which social media has benefited me, I realise that my social circle has broadened, and I'm sure as many would understand, it's hard to be fully participative in life without Facebook. Participating in social media has become normative. These networking platforms even include academic forums such as university chat pages. According to the National School Boards Association, 9% of students with access to the internet report that they use social networking sites to discuss educational topics, and 50% use the sites to talk about school assignments. Dana Boyd explains social media sites as networked publics. By this she means that sites like Facebook provide the same public aspects as in true public spaces like a library or a shopping centre. These aspects are connectedness, the ability to simply hang out and joke around together and be a part of a broader community. Adults get anxious about this easy ability for teenagers to have access to all their friends all at once so easily at any time, simply because they never had this as children. But when it comes down to the basics, the only reason we thrive on social media is the same reasons as always, because all teens crave the same things, that freedom, connection, to broaden the social circle and have a strong group of friends that we can have maximum contact with. And social media is providing these same concepts as humans have always innately seeked, and it's just making it easier for everyone. She also mentions the additional aspect to social media that is persistence of interaction, meaning that if I send a text to a friend, it's always going to be there. They can reply instantly or in a few days, but either way, the conversation is ongoing. And it's intriguing to know that there's a message coming through or it's there waiting for you and there's no rush. You can get back to them whenever you like. So, let's ask ourselves this question again. Is social media really all that bad for society? I say no. It's not designed for evil. It's not the technology itself that's the problem. Maybe it's the people using it. It's not the technology itself that causes destructive behavior. It could be the upbringing and simply the genetic makeup of that child or person. So let's take the blame off something that actually provides us with simple access to friends, easy access to information, and in general makes a lot of things in life a lot easier. Plus, without social media, we wouldn't have all these vines and memes that admittedly make everyone laugh.